Hello everyone and welcome to week 14 of English 120. This week my lecture will be on integrating sources and understanding how to use MLA format in your research paper. Our discussion forum will be about citing a cereal box. Well, you won't actually be citing a cereal box, but the idea is citing something original and practicing your MLA formatting. And I'll introduce the assignment of peer review, which will be due December 2nd. So for your research project, where you should be at is you should have turned in your research paper draft by today, November 18th at 11:59 p.m. Your peer review is the next stage of this process. I will be posting a peer review checklist, and you will be expected to do a peer review and have your paper peer reviewed by one of your peers by December 2nd, and you are responsible for making those arrangements once I set them up, but you will not have them set up till you turn in your draft. Then you'll be doing a self-review, and finally in week 17 you'll be turning in a final draft of your research paper. Your final draft will include your self-review, your peer review, and the final perfect, beautifully formatted draft. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about attributions. One of the most important parts of your research paper is how you use your source material to support what you are saying. You can integrate source material by quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing, as we've learned this semester. But you must identify your source information. When you use attributions, whenever you quote, paraphrase, or summarize, you need to distinguish between your own ideas and the ideas of your source, and you do this by using attributions. These are brief phrases such as according to, argues, explains. The example I have down here is Pamela Koch argues education reform is the best solution for fixing our public schools. By saying that Pamela Koch argues, the word argues is the attribution, you realize that she is the one arguing, she is the one making the statement that education reform is the best solution for fixing our public schools, not the author of the paper. Here's some common attributions. You are expected to use extensively attributions in your paper. When you quote, you also need to provide context, so you don't just stick a quotation in to your paper and expect the reader to connect it to your overall argument, or even to the argument you're making in that body paragraph. You have to provide context. You want to establish why the quotation, summary, or paraphrase is reliable. So who's saying it? Are they a content expert? Who are they? And you want to connect that information to the point that you're making and to your overall argument in the paper. For more details on this, see pages 251 and 252 in the Bedford Researcher. We're also going to be looking at using using a documentation system for citing your sources in your paper. We're going to be using MLA formatting. MLA formatting is established by the Modern Language Association. Your comp class lesson this week is all about using MLA formatting, and the information is also found in chapters 20 and 21 in the Bedford Researcher, or the ebook on your comp class. For your research paper, you're required to provide references to all sources you use using MLA format. To do this using in-text citations, those are citations within the body of the paper, and a works cited page, which is found at the very end of the paper. So how do you cite in-text citations and works cited citations? In-text citations, you can see how to do this on pages 334 to 337 in the Bedford Researcher. It's when you refer to a source within your text and you place the author's last name and the specific page numbers you're referring to within parentheses. This is going to allow your reader to find the full citation at the back of your paper in your works cited page. So here's some examples. In the first example, I say the name of the author in the quotation. Vargas reports that each year unintentional drownings kill more than 833 children younger than 14. This is found on page 834. Notice that because I said Vargas reports, I use that attribution, reports, right? Vargas is the author, so I don't need to put the last name of the author in the citation at the end of the sentence. Notice also where the period is. It's at the end of the parentheses. If I didn't say Vargas's last name, I would need to include it as part of the citation, as you see in the second bullet. The Works Cited page is located at the end of your document on a new page. Your Works Cited page is alphabetized by the author's last names. Publication information is listed in the format specified in Chapter 21, pages 337 through 356, and all entries are double-spaced and formatted with a hanging indent. The first line of the entry is flush with the left margin, and the subsequent lines of entries are indented 1/2 inch or 5 spaces. That means if you have you're citing a source and it takes more than one line, the second line is indented 5 spaces. So for this week's discussion, I want you to practice citation, and we're going to have a little fun with it. I'd like you to find something original to cite in MLA format. On your comp class, you're going to see a video from Professor Reif where she explains how to cite a serial box by adapting MLA format. This really helps you think about how to use MLA format, how to look at a source and really find all the information that you need to find about it. You need to find an object, document, or any other thing besides a book, article, movie, or web page to cite. And you have to find information to cite. You can't just say, I'm going to cite a tree and there's nothing, right? You want to, and I want you to know that the best post, the person who finds the most creative thing to cite will get extra credit this week. So come on, let's get some extra credit. All right, so in your discussion forum post, you need to cite your thing in MLA format. You need to explain how you chose your thing to cite and the process you went through to document as a source, and you need to respond to your peers' posts, okay? You need to do this before Sunday at 11:59 p.m. or you get 0 points. Okay, finally, your peer review is going to be introduced this week. Once you turn in your research paper draft, you will be assigned a peer review partner. You're responsible for working with this partner in order to conduct a peer review. If you do not complete your peer review, conducting one and having your paper reviewed, you cannot receive an A on your research paper. So make sure you pay attention to this and you're on it. That means you communicate with the person who is your partner. It's very important. Here's the rest of the class schedule, guys. We are almost at the end, okay? By the end of next week, you're going to have your peer review done. The following week, we'll be doing self-reviews. You'll also, and these are going to be new drafts of your research paper. I'll be talking in more detail about this, but after you get your peer review back, you're going to edit your paper and then work from the new edited draft on your self-review. And I will be looking at the differences between your drafts to make sure you're making changes. Week 17 is when your final research paper is due. All drafts are due together, turned in one big packet. And finally, week 18, we will have a final in this class. I wanted to bring this to your attention. And you will need to take your final at the testing center on campus. If you do not live anywhere near the testing center on campus, you need to make arrangements to be able to go to another university or college and use their testing center. And you need to contact me immediately so we can set this up. But more details on all of these things are going to be posted soon. In the meantime, please keep up, work hard, and email me if you have any questions.